You can see you guys have great chemistry. I'm ready for the third project.
Me too.
Hey, it's Kristen, and today we are chatting with the cast and crew of the upcoming dark comedy horror film, 12-Hour Shift. Bodies start to pile up when a drug-addicted nurse and her wild cousin try to find a replacement kidney for an organ trafficker in this film written and directed by Brea Grant. 12-Hour Shift is a wild ride. So where did this concept come from?
It came from a couple of places. I have always loved urban legends. And I loved the one where the person wakes up in the bathtub and they're missing a kidney. And then it says on the mirror, like, go to the hospital right now. And so this is sort of my answer to where that kidney went. And then I kind of built on it from there. I know a lot of nurses, so I wanted to write about that. And then I'm also from East Texas, and I included a lot of people that I knew growing up. I wanted them to have a place in the movie.
We see you at the very beginning, and you kind of set up this fear that we have throughout the film of oh my God, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, that presence of just this guy's going to come after you. So what is that like, kind of setting up that stage?
Well, it feels nice getting that kind of acknowledgement from you, because that's what we were setting out. There has to be the sense of forebodings if this poor young lady doesn't do her job in the organ trafficking field just right. I mean, it's really important. If you're going to go into organ trafficking, it's any job worth doing is worth doing well.
Now, did you have to do research to get into this role?
I used to love the X-Files, and that to this day, an episode about organ trafficking scared the heck out of my older children. And so it is, I know it's a creepy subject, and so that those who engage in it are going to be creepy, dangerous people, and I tried to give that feeling to my role.
What was it like getting into the role of Regina? She's very interesting because I think, other people in the film have called her dumb, but, I'm sure when you're kind of getting into that role, that's not what you're thinking about. So
yeah,
what was it like kind of embodying her?
Well, I kind of wanted her to be a little bit like she's in a bubble around her head, and she's kind of in this bubble, and she just thinks of things that are happening right then and there, and not really of the consequences of what is going to happen down the line once she does something. And I wanted her to have a lot of physicality, and I love to work with physicality when I prepare for a character. So I kind of gave her a wonky walk and a little bit of a face twitch. And just these little things, I think, just all added up into this kind of crazy out there character. And I think she does come across a little bit dumb, or a little bit, maybe naive is the right word. And I wanted her just to be not fully dumb, but she just goes for it. She doesn't really think about what's happening. Just kind of like this whirlwind of chaos coming into the hospital and turning everything upside down, but not really actually meaning to do it.
What is it like to go from the wrestling ring to the screen, acting wise?
Well, it's just a little bit different way of telling a story. You do it in multiple takes instead of all at once, and you're not producing your own sound effects and everything else that you do when you're in a wrestling match. So, but it's a lot of fun. And unlike wrestling or my real life, where I don't curse much, I get to curse a lot in this movie. In a very short amount of time, I let a few bad words fly.
Something that I found really interesting is that I feel like in maybe a stereotypical kind of horror film, your character would maybe be someone who was killed off, but your character I don't want to give any spoilers, but is, the opposite of that. So what is that like, kind of portraying a role like that?
It's nice because, as you said, normally my type of character, I guess the typical blonde in a horror movie, they die halfway through. So it's a really nice breath of fresh air to have this sort of character go from start to finish, and to walk out the other end. So when I first read the script, I was like, this is great. It's different to any of the other kind of thriller horror movies I've read or been in before. So really good, really nice.
For a film like this, you've had a lot of experience behind the scenes, on screen. What is it like to write and direct a project like this and kind of make it come to life how you want?
It's really awesome, actually. I mean, it's fun being an actor. I mean, I've spent most of my career being an actor, but it's nice to have something that kind of came from my weirdo head and see it getting made. And there was this part in when we all were down in Arkansas together. And there was this night where we were all like roller skating together. And I was like, oh, wow, like all of these people came down here to make this thing that came out of my head because they like believed in this project. And, you know, you make these things on a shoestring, and so people really have to want to do it, to come down and do it. And it just like meant a lot that people were going to do that.
Brilliant script. It's it was so well written. Like nothing had to change. We barely changed it. She would give us a lot of freedom to do like improv and stuff, but we really didn't change it because it dealt with what we were dealing with. So, you know, we might put our own little more emphasis on it or something like that, but it really didn't need a lot of change. So, and when you feel somebody is as passionate as you are about what they do, you're happy to do and come to Arkansas, you know, and do a film on a shoestring.
What was it like in general, just hanging out on this set with everybody?
I loved doing my scenes with Chloe Farnworth. I think it's going to be her breakout role. I really do. I hope people will see it in whatever form it's available, whether it's streaming or I heard something about drive-ins.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to check and see. I would love to see this movie at a drive-in.
Absolutely. I feel like this is that perfect kind of a little bit eerie, a little funny vibe for, you know, to be sitting in your car like, uh-oh, is someone like your character going to come up?
I find out where the movie's playing and just make random appearances in that shiny shirt.
Yeah.
Person people, too.
Oh, my goodness. Too funny. Mick Foley said that this is a breakout role for you. What was it like working with him?
Oh, he's a darling. He's wonderful. He's such a kind, funny, just loving guy. Just lovely. He doesn't come across as a big scary fighter or anything like that. He's very tall, but yeah, so lovely and so much fun. He's really sweet, and that's very nice of him to say.
Now, this is a project that gets pretty bloody. What is it like filming those types of scenes?
Fun. It's really fun.
It's sticky, very sticky.
You don't realize what it takes to get it done. And then, you know, you've seen blood and gore and stuff before, but the magic that happens with it. And then you're like, oh, it's not as scary as it feels. But when you see it, you're like, ah! It's like that's how great it is to
At least we hope they're like, that's the hope.
Well, you know, we love shockers. So
Yeah.
I get covered in a puke or a lot like throughout the movie. And it was like a mixture of yogurt and oatmeal and a few other things, and the smell of it kind of was really hard at some points because it was like right over my face and, you know, over my whole outfit. So it's really fun but very sticky and a bit smelly depending on what the stuff is made out of.
I love how cool Karen is about everything. So she doesn't nothing really bothers her. You see, we're nurses, we see blood and guts all the time, so it really doesn't, I think, bother us in the same way that it would bother everybody else. But that's the best part about this film too.
Especially when you see there's the scene with a cop who seems to think that blood everywhere is normal. You know, I think that just goes to show people think, yeah, nurses see a lot of blood.
When Angela is in there with that, it's like, it is kind of like, what? But it is a hospital. So you think that, okay, well, maybe something went wrong or amiss, or, you know, maybe things can spurt everywhere. Because even I'm like, dang, that's a lot of blood. And he walks in like, so.
This is not the only project you had coming out this year. You had this film and Lucky at Fantasia Film Festival. What was kind of the timeline between those films? Like, were they done around a similar time to kind of be coming out now?
First of all, Nikea's in both. Yeah, we shot 12-hour shift and I had a 3-week break and then we started shooting Lucky. So it was not a very long time period. And then there were days where I would go from editing 12-hour shift during the day, because Lucky was a lot of night shoots. And then I'd go shoot Lucky all night long. It wasn't too bad, but it was definitely, I knew I was only gonna be doing it for a short period of time so I could handle it. But it was a lot of work for those few months where they were kind of both in post at the same time and both shooting at the same time.
That is insane that you were able to do those both at the same time.
You know what? I've been waiting for a really long time to get to make another movie. I made my first movie 8 years ago. So I think for me, it was like, I'm not going to not take on these opportunities because I won't sleep for a couple of months. Like, I would rather just get it get them both done because I'm scared the opportunities will never come back.
And thank God you did.
It's true.
Is there anything else you can share about the film?
The film's out on October 2nd.
Everybody go watch it. Go to the drive-in, video on demand. Do it.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. I'm so glad I could be part of your first press day, Nikea.
Thank you so much. You're so great.
Thank you. If you like this interview, consider subscribing and check out more right over here. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.